The problem with motivation, it's not something that's going to get you driven for a month or a year. Motivation is an emotion. Drive is what gets you to the goal. And that's what people need to believe in. If you only have a plan A, good luck. You need to have a plan B, C, D, E, F. Every habit takes 21 days on average. Don't give up after 1 week. People who are listening to this podcast, just give yourself 3 weeks. We don't have to go to the red line every day. What does that mean? Small changes, I think. Yeah? It's having an understanding of your body, letting your body recover and get stronger. It's all down to the rest. If someone asks me, how the hell can you run 100 miles? If you don't want that 100%, if you have the smallest bit of doubt, don't even start. You need to want to do this. You need to be mentally prepared to suffer. How much do you want it? It's like with everything in life. The more I do this, the better I am as a human. Successful people do things differently to the norm. If you care about what other people think, you're never going to do what you want. What other people think is none of my business.
The Gentrified Stoic Podcast.
So Mario, thank you so much for coming on. I think most people, and I would include myself in that, would hear the ultramarathon runner or the words ultramarathon runner and imagine someone who has always been disciplined and always had their life together, for want of a better phrase, okay? The reality for you is, of course, very different. You told me in the lead up to the show that you were once overweight, 120 kilograms, and working in a very, very demanding corporate environment. So how do you go from that to the man sitting in front of us today?
Thanks for having me, Jonathan, first and foremost. It's an absolute honor and a pleasure to be able to talk to you about a little bit about my story. Yeah, I think everybody, I think everybody has some sort of, I call it the flick of the switch moment. I'm a huge AC/DC fan. They've got an album, Flick of the Switch, so It's kind of coming from that a little bit. But there is, the flick of the switch hasn't been something created by AC/DC. So I had that moment where, when you're not healthy, you know that.
You think you knew that at the time? You think?
Yeah, everybody knows.
Yeah.
If someone's big, they know.
Right,
they don't need telling.
Right.
But and I'm very honest about it. I don't go that direct to people who are obviously, struggling with weight. But when you're struggling with weight or when you're smoking or whatever, everybody knows smoking's no good. Everybody knows drinking's no good. Right? And everybody knows, when you're too big. You don't know how big. And I didn't. I needed to see pictures where I'm like, wow. So for me, there was a moment many years ago when I lived in England, and I've told this story a few times. People can even see a video of it when I'm telling the story. So I'm going to try and be as accurate as I've been with all the others times I told the story. So I was in Morpeth in Northumberland, so we lived in England. And we got an invite to a wedding in Switzerland. So one of my good friends got married. So this is years ago, right? And my daughter was there as well. 2 years old. We went to a shop, the local shop, and I needed a suit because I didn't have a suit. Probably I needed a suit because the old one didn't fit anymore. Probably. But as a service engineer, you don't have many opportunities to wear a suit. So I don't know if I didn't even have one or not. But that's not the important part. The important part was my daughter was running around, not wildly, but like, ooh, But the funny thing was, we entered the shop, and I went to the normal clothes where they hang around, the suits, and the lady came up to me of the shop and said, "Hey, excuse me, sir, but your size is over there."
Right.
So I wasn't even in the normal category anymore.
Right.
So that for me was like, wow. So I looked at my wife, and I could feel welling up inside. I don't know if it was visible. And that for me was like, phew, that was hard for me. I'm like, wow. And then my wife said, look, just don't worry about it. Just, let's get on with this. And so I went over there, and we were trying the suit on and stuff. And then I watched my daughter run around, and she was just kind of happy, And she was running towards the door, and the door went straight onto the main street of Old English Town, right? Little paved sidewalk and then straight onto the street. And the door was shut, luckily. And that's when it hit me. And I'm like, if that door's open and my daughter runs towards the door, fat Mario has no chance catching her or saving her. And that was my moment in a compressed file version.
Okay.
That's when I said to myself, that's it. Something has to change.
You have those two, that two-pronged attack where it's the lady points you to another direction for the suits. Of course, that hits you emotionally, it sounds like. And then you also see your daughter making that move and think, I'm not catching her if something goes wrong there. So what happens in your mind then, and what's the steps that you take to start making that change?
So the first step was, let's get this wedding out of the way. Big boy, big suit, let's do it. And then I just started running. I got a job in Liverpool in England to lead a site of 18 men. And the machinery put in there, it was a greenfield site, the biggest printing factory in the world from scratch. So there's bigger printing factories in the world, so paper printing, newspapers and magazines and brochures and stuff. But this one was the biggest one that was like greenfield, brownfield up, just outside the airport in Liverpool. And I was responsible for 110 million Australian dollars worth of equipment. Wow. And I was at that customer for 4 years, so I got that job. So I stayed in a small hotel nearby in Ellesmere Port, and they had a little gym, like a mini gym, like 2 treadmills, a few machines, and a sauna. That's it, and a pool. And I started running on that treadmill. I said, "That's it. I'm gonna try." My dad was always a runner. My dad was always fit, and he had a heart problem, so he had to be fit. Otherwise, he couldn't have handled. He had angina and everything. He probably passed away 3 times, according to doctors, but he always made it through. Wow. Oh, my mum was told many times, please, probably have to say goodbye. He won't wake up from this, and he always did.
Wow.
And he passed away a few years ago. He was only 67, but he got 67 years of full blown, when they said, you shouldn't, you couldn't, he said stuff that. And that's a little bit where I get my attitude from, a guy like that who's unwell all his life, he's never shown it, never whined about it, never, So I just started running. And I said to myself, if I can run 4 miles on this treadmill, I'm going to buy myself some running shoes and I'm going to run outside. Right. The reason I was on the treadmill wasn't that I felt ashamed of going out. I just wanted to make it safe. Yeah. Because I had to focus on what do I do. And the weight started dropping, and automatically you eat healthier. And you start thinking, hold on, my sleep's better. Maybe I should drink a little bit less. And I was always the first guy in the pub. Right. So I was always like, come on, boys, let's go for a drink. And then there's me in there, 10 pints a night. And then I was the one saying, I'm not coming to the pub anymore. So these guys were rolling around laughing, like, come on, we're going to do this for a week. And then I said, stuff you, I'm going to bloody show you guys. That's what you talked about beforehand, isn't it? Don't doubt you, because you will then use that as your fuel. Yeah, it's great. It's the best fuel ever. Hold my beer, they say in Australia. I love it. It's like, hold my beer. So that was my hold my beer moment. I mean, I still went to the pub once a week. I said, okay, Wednesdays is the time. Right. I'll come round. And it was Wetherspoons. I don't know if that rings a bell. Oh, of course, yeah. So cheap meals, cheap beer, and as a service engineer, that'll do just nicely. Yeah. And so and then takeaway was always like only once a week, right? But only when I worked away. So I used to work away 2 weeks, go home for a weekend, right? And I always said Sunday's the time. I'll still have an Indian, I'll still have a curry, a takeout. And it's just a matter of reducing. I mean, I used to smoke as well a lot. So not only was I big, I got big because I stopped smoking, because something replaces the smokes. When you're hungry, you have a smoke. Yeah. When you're hungry, you don't have that smoke, you have a Mars bar, so that obviously doesn't help the whole process. So I was a 2-pack-a-day smoker, and a cold turkey, actually, in Abu Dhabi airport. Really? Nearby where you live, was my last cigarette of my life, What made you make that decision? I ran out of cigarettes, and I said, I have the motivation now. The problem with motivation, right, and I speak about that a lot with my runners and people want to listen, and even the ones who don't want to listen, I still tell them, Now, the funny thing is, it's like motivation is an emotion. Drive is what gets you to the goal. But if you think you've got one chance at something, motivation is good. It's like you're in a big race and you want to finish. That's when motivation plays a big role.
Yeah.
Motivation is huge. Even at work, it's like, okay, what do we do? Sometimes motivation is good, but it's only an emotion. It's not something that's going to get you driven for a month or 2 months or a year. I just had that moment in Abu Dhabi airport. It was the 23rd of January 2003, and I'm like, I think this is time. Plus, my wife just quit. And I'm like, if she can do it, there's that other motivator again. I mean, if my wife can stop smoking, and we were both heavy smokers, I have to be able to do it again as well, come on. So I did. So chucked them, and it was hard. It was hard, yeah. But that's a cold turkey thing. So I'm comparing, because I've done both, lose weight and stop smoking. Stop smoking can only happen with, you can't, there's none of this reducing. No. You're still a smoker.
Yeah.
But we have to eat. So we can't just stop eating. So we just make better decisions, I guess.
Right. I'm glad you did that in, because it was hard, because you were making things sound really, really easy there. I just decided one day that was it. I'm a runner. That's it, 4 miles. Amazing though, because I love that. I mean, the flick of the switch moment could not be more true at what you've done there. In an airport, you run out of cigarettes and you go, right, done with that. So back to the weight and the change into the running. You run this 4 miles. You begin to start peeling yourself away from a pub. What's your memories of that time like? I think from where I'm from, it's a very small town. We all do the same stuff. The moment I said I'm not drinking anymore, it's ridicule, it's judgment, it's people taking shots, it's people don't understand it. And to be quite honest, it's quite good because you can use it as fuel, but it's also quite isolating and it can become quite lonely. What's your memories like of that time, and how did you manage to turn that into to fuel for you?
It's a fantastic question, because for me it was the opposite. Where I did my drinking wasn't at home.
Right, okay.
So I lived in an even smaller village that didn't even have a pub.
Right.
So I had to go to the next little village on my bike on the weekend. And with being Swiss, not supporting the local team, so living in Northumberland, you either support Newcastle or Sunderland.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Liverpool supporter. So there's already, and then he has an accent, not English. So okay, whoa, what do we do here? So I still had a drink, but I didn't really have a good friend network.
Right.
Other than at work. And at work, I had the respect because I was kind of good at what I did.
Right, okay.
So the respect wasn't based on how many pints I can throw down my neck.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
So compared to your situation, probably I had it a little bit easier.
Right.
Because I was in charge of a big site. And for me to try and be that leader that I want to be, that I've always been, or I'm hoping to be for the rest of my life, that was a little bit easy for me to say, guys, probably you guys still have a drink, I'll come occasionally, and that was not an issue.
Okay.
So I had it a little bit easier. But then my friends in Switzerland, that would be that small town thing. They still now don't believe what I've done.
Really?
Because when I go back, they look at me, they says, what the hell happened to you? Right? In a good way.
Yeah.
And they give me all the respect. But as we age as well, I mean, we're all mid-50s, my best friends and me. As we get wiser and older, that respect grows anyway.
Absolutely.
Because I was
That's a good point.
unfittest guy playing football. When I played football until I was 23. And because it was a team sport, I couldn't do it anymore with being on the road all the time. But that's probably, and then in Switzerland, when I went back, we had a few drinks, and now I hardly drink. And the funniest story now, this is really funny, I've just been to Switzerland in January, and I just decided for a few weeks, I still drink, don't get me wrong, I love a good glass of wine, I love a good whiskey, I'm a big single malt fan, I have quite a collection at home, my wife and I have a nice gin, but it's all about the quality of what we drink and the quality of who we are with.
Yeah.
So with my wife, it'll be Friday night, we'll have a gin. The weekend, it's all special. I never had a drink when I felt bad. So I've never said, that's it, I need a beer because I need to drown my sorrows.
Well, let's go off a wee bit on that, because I love that. And that is one of the biggest reasons for drinking in many of the again, going back to small towns, but it's been a hard week. It's been a tough week, I'm going to drink. It's been a good week, I'm going to drink. What do you do if you're not reaching for that drink? What's some of your coping mechanisms instead?
Well, usually I'd look forward to a big run on the weekend, and I know how important it is to feel good when I run. So now probably running is a little bit that drug, you know. So,
Amazing,
yeah.
amazing. Okay, so you again, you've done the 4 miles, you've peeled yourself away. You I guess you're improving as a leader when you're starting to do this stuff as well. How do you go from that 4 miles in the gym on that first day to you've run 22 ultramarathons now? You've done the Kosci, which is how far is it?
240.
240 kilometers.
So I've done that one twice. Yeah.
You've done that one twice. How did that build? How does that happen?
I think when you're really unfit, to become a little bit fitter and feel good doesn't take much. So people who are listening to this podcast, just give yourself 3 weeks. Just please.
3 weeks.
Don't give up after 1 week. The body goes through the ringer. It's really not happy with you. You start running, exercising, eating less, doing all sorts of funny stuff. The body is not happy yet because it's like in this rut of, give me that, this, that, and the other, and it's just used to whatever. So it's at least a 3-week thing where you think, okay, every change takes 21 days, right? Every habit takes 21 days on average, you know? And that's what people need to believe in, saying, okay, yes, let's that is very important. So that would be my first tip. And that's what happened to me. And then you just look, okay, what else can I do? I never ran a 5K in my life until I came to Australia. So I've already done marathons and half marathons and 10K, but I've never run a race 5K.
Never raced a 5K, right?
There wasn't any around. Parkrun wasn't up and running yet, which is now. And they're everywhere, which is a fantastic thing. So my first 5K timed event was actually here in Australia. So I just went to 10K. There was one local where I was in Northumberland on the beach, and it was fantastic. 10K, got through, smashed my goal time that I wanted to reach, smashed that. Thought, okay. And then before we moved out here, I did a half marathon in Wales, in Cardiff, to have that. And then when I came here, the goal was to do a marathon, which was Sydney. Right. And that was a do or die moment. It was very hot, 2:11. People who were listening, who ran the 2:11 Sydney Marathon around the 10th, 11th September, it was really hot. Right. Got to about 35 degrees or something. The problem is it's not hot in Australia terms, but you've trained all the way through winter. Yeah. Like now, June, July, August, and then you hit that 35 degree, and it was like really tough. So it was a do or die moment, and I didn't die. And that's it. Then I said let's see. First 50K. Then we went back to Switzerland 2015, ran my first 100K on the road. Didn't do bad there. Didn't know anything about nutrition or anything. And then it just progressed, became a personal trainer. So I lost my job. So I got here through a job. And then my position 2 years later was made redundant. Right. So I thought, okay, what do we do? An MBA was too expensive, and I didn't really want to do it. Right. I thought, maybe that's what you need to do. But if you think that's what you need to do because everybody else is doing it, probably do something else. So I like to be that salmon kind of guy against the stream, because I always think successful people do things differently to the norm. And the word normal is not nice. Anyway, I don't like that word normal. If the doctor says, you're in the normal range, I says, hold on. What does that mean? I want to be either high or low, whatever you need to be, you know. So, just further, longer, became a personal trainer, running coach, because I wanted to know the anatomy of the body before I started training people. And then now, since 12 or 13 years now, I train and coach people. So, and it's very rewarding. But I like to be, again, we need to go back to what I want to be not seen as, but kind of, I like to be doing stuff that I talk about. Yeah, there'll come a day where I'm not going to be able to run 100 miles anymore, and I'll be coaching people for that. But then at least I can say, hey, I know what goes in because I've done plenty. But at this moment in time, it's a good feeling that I coach people doing stuff that I've already done or planning to do as well.
So I guess it's that gradual step, isn't it, where you 4 miles, then your 10K, then your half, then your... What's the step up like? I mean, you don't see people crawling over the finish line in a 10K, right? It's hard. It was difficult for you at the time to do that. But like some of these events, you are at the absolute peak of what a human can possibly do. But you're sort of what's that jump up like? How do you continue to want to do that?
Small changes, I think. Yeah. It's having an understanding of your body. I think it's very important, and we don't have to go to the red line every day. So I'm a strong believer of tempo runs belong here. You know, you need to do some speed work, you need to do hill work, but as you learn more about the sport, how to operate, how much sleep, it's all down to the rest period now, how you recover. You know, I'm a big believer in recovery. Everybody can train. You train, but you give someone a program, they go and train. But how do they recover between runs? That's where the gains are.
Right.
But letting your body recover and get stronger.
Right.
Eat the right things. And then, look, on race day, anything can happen. You know, I'm racing a half marathon next week. That'll hurt like hell.
You're going to go for that?
Yeah. But then when it's like coast to Kosci, it's all about step by step, aid station. There's no aid stations. Your crew vehicle is your aid station. But you see them every 30 minutes, every hour, however you time it. And that's where you say, okay, I just need to get there. And how are you feeling? And then there's two ways of going about it as well. When you want to jump up, you really want to do this. You know, if someone asks me, how the hell can you run 100 miles or 240 kilometers or now 5 days as a background out? If you don't want that 100%, if you have the smallest bit of doubt, don't even start. You need to want to do this. If you don't want to, it's a long way of hurting, and nobody's prepared to hurt for such a long way.
What does that look like if you want it the whole time? Because I'm going to do a backyard ultra in 10 weeks, and I'm scared, and there's a lot of doubt, and there's a lot of me wants to quit, but I've not quit. So there's obviously a want there, but how do I know what's just doubt, what's just limiting self-beliefs, and what is actually then starts to step into a lack of desire?
It's a great question. I think, see, I can't talk for someone else. I can only talk about how I do it. It's you eat, sleep, drink, live by that.
Right.
So you're giving a few things up. Not your family and stuff. I'm not saying, you know, sadly just say, look, I'm moving out for 10 weeks because, you know. But some professionals do that. Some trail runners now, they can earn a bit of a living. They will say, hey, I need to go away. We go and do training weekends where we just do nothing else than eat, drink, recover, sleep, and run twice a day and do it again the next day and so on. Then we drive home. I'm actually doing this now this weekend, 2 days where we're going to do a course recce. And it's, if your goal is big enough and you visualize, so I'm a big fan of visualization. So I visualize, how am I going to feel? How's this going to make me feel when I finish? And finishing a big event, it doesn't matter how long it is. For me, it's very long. That feeling you get of accomplishing that on foot. I mean, Coast to Coast is a great example. It goes from sea level, from a beach to the highest mountain in Australia.
Wow.
And so in the morning of day one, you're on the beach, touching the water, and sometime during the day of day two, you end up on the highest point in the snow. That was in my case last year, in the highest point in Australia.
Wow.
And with these two, nothing else, right? And you're like, how amazing is that?
A lot of this, I guess.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 90% is this. To finish something, you need to be mentally prepared to suffer, But having an understanding of you need to know what the difference is between pain and soreness. Pain is different to soreness. Does it hurt because you're injured, or does it hurt because you've bloody been running for 20, 30 hours, right?
Yeah.
So having that understanding definitely helps.
Yes.
But it's, how much do you want it? It's like with everything in life. When you think you see that little hole at the end of the tunnel, that's where you want to go to. You just go.
Why do you want it so much, Mario? You've got family, you've got a decent life. When that hits, when you're in that pain cave or that soreness cave, depending on which, why do you want it? What's pushing you so hard?
Oh, there's a lot of whys. I have a lot of whys. Yeah, the more I do this, the better I am as a human.
Oh,
Undoubtedly,
wow.
yeah.
Right.
That's my strong belief, yeah.
That's a nice shot.
Yeah. I'm a better husband. I'm not the best husband. I'm not the best father. I would never say that. But as a whole package, I think it makes me better. This whole, because you learn about problem solving. Suddenly, problems or issues aren't as big as they appear to be, because you just work through them. And as I go through a big event like that, I work through little problems all the time. You're problem solving all the time. You have a plan, but you need to have a plan B, C, D, E, F. Wow. If you only have a plan A, good luck. Plan B, poo. But then I have C, D, E, F. Everything. It's like, if this happens, then I need to do this. And then as you train and do these events, you have a toolbox. And you have more tools. And there's certain... I know I'm at the end of my power when I've run out of tools. Then I know I'm in trouble. I've had a couple of races like that where I'm like, wow, what do we do now?
You've run out of nutrition,
belt.
you've run out of, what else is on that tool belt?
Oh, the mental, a lot of mental strategies in that, because okay, I'm in that pain cave now. What did I do last time? A bad training run is still a good training run because you've learned something. If everything's easy and suddenly race day comes and it's hard, what do you do?
Yeah.
So I actually embrace the tough sessions more than the easy ones. Going for a 3-hour long run and everything went smooth, you've learned nothing other than, I've got another 3 hours in the bank. You're filling up that cookie jar, as they say, and that's when you empty it then on race day. So you have a full cookie jar, empty it on race day. You have a lot of tools. That can be nutrition, that can be mindset, that can be your whys. So have a lot of whys. You're creating your own mantras. Some people go into a race with mantras, others don't. And then I'm always responsible for my crew, my wife, my daughter, and I'm like, I want to finish for them as well, and that's good. I think that for me that works well, and I just visualize all day. How do I want to feel? How's this going to make me feel? Even now when I train, I've got Sydney Marathon coming up and then 100K 13 days later. How do I want to feel at the finish line?
Wow. Now so you told me you've only got one DNF on your record. For anybody not familiar with running, that's a did not finish. You didn't get to the end of the race. But you say you've been at the end of that tool belt a few times. So that means you've been there and not quit more times than you have. What pushes you through there?
I think the advantage of running a trail race, if it's a loop, you've got no other option other than a helicopter. But if you're not injured, you don't need a helicopter to get you out. And so usually a bit of self-talk gets me to the finish.
Wow.
Yeah. You accept that it's not your day. That's very important. I think professional athletes even do that. It's not their day. They accept it, but they still finish what they started. And I'm a big fan of finishing what I start. Because I'm, if you go back to, or across to my professional life, I run a lot of projects. Starting a project is easy.
Motivation's there, isn't it?
Everybody can start a project. Motivation's there, it's that emotion. Someone's handed me a project to do. Everybody can get to 90%, or many people can get to 90%. That's the ones who finish the project, from 95 to 100. The ones who get the sign-off. And they don't grow on trees, these people, in professional life and in sports and whatever. I mean, how many talented sports people? We've got the World Cup going on now. How many talented footballers are sitting around at home thinking that could be me? Would I have pulled my finger out? Because they're seeing 5 or 6 people in their team, in their national side, who might not be as talented as them, but they're sat on the couch.
100%. We had a very interesting conversation in a group chat last night. So Scotland are being praised for having the best fans there, right? Scotland's fans have been incredible. But one of my friends raised this point, is there's a paradox there, because we're over there with the best drinkers there, with the best singers there, with the best fans, with the best guys that cutting about in kilts and partying, but we're one of the worst football teams there. And most of those guys that are cutting about in kilts, I've got most of my people on my Instagram are there. There's definitely 20, 30 of them that I know that could have made it at football, but they became good at drinking and they didn't eventually make it. And so there's the paradox of Scotland could be a better football team, but have a shitter support if we didn't have these so many temptation and so much. What in your mind separates those that might have been in your position and continued on that path, that continue drinking, that continue overeating, that continue smoking, from people like yourself who just had that flick of the switch moment?
If you care about what other people think, that'll be your biggest hurdle.
You think that keeps people stuck?
Yeah.
Wow. Why?
Because if you care what other people think, you're never going to do what you want.
Wow.
Because you're always thinking first, what's Jonathan going to think? Yeah, of course it's important for me that we kind of click here today, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm still going to go on my path, maybe on a better path, thanks to talking to you. Of course,
so.
I strongly believe in these things, but what other people think is none of my business. My dad taught me that very early on, because he already saw when I was probably 1 year old, this one's not normal. That one's not normal. And with wilder ones, because my brother was completely the opposite to me. He's a bit younger than me, totally opposite.
Right.
To me, I was always a bit wild and gung-ho, and I don't really care what happens. I'm kind of, let's see what's on the other side of this carpet. Let's go and have a look. What does this button do? One of my favorite singers, Bruce Dickinson, he wrote a book, and that's what he called it. What does this button do?
What does this button do? No, I think
I'm that kind of guy.
It's an amazing answer.
It's
an amazing answer. I think about what kept me stuck for so long, and it was the people that are out there pushing it. I always had a comment to make about them. I always said, oh, look at this guy that's doing that. Because they were stepping out of line. Tall poppy syndrome, as Jason spoke about earlier. But no, it's an incredible answer, and I don't think people realise just how much that can keep them stuck.
I mean, it's important that, who do you care about and whose opinion do you care about? That circle is small.
Yeah.
Do that. Get guidance from them. And you've just mentioned Jason. Jason's one of them. He is in my little network.
Yeah.
It's a small network of people who genuinely care about me.
Yes.
Then I also genuinely care about what they think. And if they say, mate, be careful, and then I would ask, okay, why do you think? They say, this and this and this. Right, that makes sense. I didn't think about that. And then I might retreat. But if it's just normal, everyday people who have no worth in my life, I'm like, who are you? Jealous. Do you know I think the people who put their hand up immediately say, you shouldn't, they're the ones jealous.
I agree.
Jonathan's doing it.
Yeah.
And internally, it's like, wow, I should have thought of that. Why is he doing it? And I'm not.
I think
but
these people have
be angry.
Amazing potential as well, because they have, if you can turn that voice of jealousy into a supporter for yourself, or I'm actually going to recognise the jealousy and then begin to say, right, I'm going to use that as fuel for me. I mean, that's what I had to do. I had to go, right, well, I'm fed up judging other people that are doing shit. I'm going to go out and start doing shit. And then started using that as fuel. And it becomes an incredible fuel for you.
Anger can fuel your own goodness, If you're just angry at the world, use that anger and you've got the battery, it's there. You're using the battery power on anger rather than moving forward. Just move in your direction and, Look, I'm not the one who knows everything, but this is where I'm thinking sometimes we just need to sit down, relax and think, okay, where do I channel my energy?
Right, I love that. One of the things that I think sometimes can be labelled at ultramarathon runners is that they're running away from something. What I'm beginning to realise the more I delve into that world is that they believe they might be running towards something or solving problems while they are doing this. What's your experience or relationship with that first belief in those latter ones?
It's pretty, I think you're right. It's a lot of people do think this. There might be some ultra runners who run away from things. But But I think most of us run towards something, a better us, a better me. And it's just better being out there suffering a bit than being in an air-conditioned room or in a heated, the car seat is now heated. Could I drive somewhere or could I walk there? It's just, there's something fascinating about being uncomfortable. Choosing, I don't always choose uncomfortable, but, this, cold plunges, hot shower, one hurts a bit more than the other. But it's a good hurt because I know the benefits. I might get through another winter without catching a cold just because I jump in a cold plungy pool every morning. Whatever it is people do. But this ultra, it's just this freedom, You're free, and I think you hit the nail on the head there with the problem solving. There's so many things. I always say if an issue can't be solved on a 4-hour long run, that issue can't be solved probably. If there's an angry email you need to solve and you can't come up with a solution, there might not be a solution. But that's also good. It's like people go on holiday for 2 or 3 weeks and they come back and they check their emails. Why would you go back to the very first one when you left? That problem might be solved by itself. Just look at the last few things that have been going on that haven't been looked at, and that's maybe... We kind of freak out too much, too soon about things a little bit. So, but being out there on a long run or long day, and I think many people also forget that if you're ultramarathon running is just one part. It's like at work as well, you kind of grind away every single day to become a better business or a better employee or a better employer or a better CEO or whatever you are, or a better manager. It's these little things you do all the time. Good runners are made when no one's watching. The hours in the gym, the mobility in front of the TV, using the massage gun, being disciplined every morning, get up, do the run, or in the evening. Many people have to run in the evening. Some ultra runners run in the morning and in the evening. Some run at lunchtime and in the evening. And it's that discipline of, if I don't fuel, I'm not going to run. That workout's going to suck, and so on. It's a lifestyle. I think that's a lifestyle. For me, now listening to my own words, I actually think I like the lifestyle I have. And it's got nothing to do with money or anything like that. It's like the lifestyle I've made of living the healthiest I can be and the strongest I can be, independent on how old I'm going to be. Everything I do now is for longevity. In 20 years, I still want to be running around the mountains. When I'm in my 70s, So.
Amazing. I think with the energy you've got, I wouldn't doubt it. What's been some of the more challenging moments in your journey?
I think family life.
Right.
Waking my wife up at 4, not wanting to wake her up at 4. But if you live with a light sleeper, you can't be, and I'm not very quiet.
I can imagine that.
I'm not a quiet guy. I've always been very loud, as much as I try. I think that's a challenge. I don't want to drag her into all my training runs. So it's not really fair on that. I think my wife, obviously, she's my biggest supporter, which I really have to be honest. She wouldn't tell you all the time, but when she's needed and required, she's the crew chief and she'll help out, and she knows me best. And she knows when I'm suffering and when I'm just like not suffering, but I look like I'm suffering. I think that's a challenge, fitting it all in, of course, and understanding what's, the thing is I also have a bit of a different nutritional lifestyle, so I'm plant-based since many years now. It's not a biggie. I don't want to, I'm not mentioning it for the fact of vegan this, vegan that, whatever. But that can be a challenge, just learning every day. Okay, what can I cook? What's going to feed me? What's going to fuel me? And then the main thing is the recovery. How am I going to recover the best? So it's just this constant learning. I'm not saying you're carrying niggles, but there's always something, you're always jiggling about. You can see an ultra runner and an endurance athlete from miles away. They're always jiggling something, moving their toes, doing little calf drops. And I'm going to be sitting in the car now for 5 hours. I'm going to be a wreck when I end up, because I don't sit at all day. I stand all day at a standing desk all day. It's not even electric. It's like a crank handle. Once it's up, that's it. I do my podcast standing up, everything.
Amazing. So that's actually something that I did want to lead on to, because I think if you imagine ultramarathoner and you're running these incredible distances, and I was just speaking to Jason about doing 250-kilometre weeks and crazy stuff.
Nuts, yeah.
But what does that leave you like physically to perform other duties? Because I'm then thinking, well, are you able to pick your kids up when they're younger? Are you able to fucking go to the shop? Are you able to, I don't know, what's daily functioning like for you when you're doing these sorts of programs?
I'm full on all day.
Right.
My brain's constantly going. I've got 3 companies, startups. I've got a full-time job, all my training, all my coaching. It's just a matter of fitting it in, and it's a hard one to explain. I just love what I do, and then it's easier. Yeah, not every day is fun. Every day at 4:30, I need to get up. You need to make sure you've eaten something. You get your coffee in. You need to go to the toilet. Blah blah blah. Blah. There's a lot of little things going on, but I do nap a lot. So I'm a fan of napping, especially on the weekends. Sometimes during the day, I can fit one in just at lunch, 10 minutes. Like my grandfather napped. Why would it be wrong for them? They worked hard. They had a nap, and they went for full day. Like. It's what we need to do. I'm a huge fan of napping. Even in a race, in a very long race, I would have a 10-minute nap, and it charges my battery up. I don't have caffeine. I'm a big coffee drinker. I love my espressos. I don't have any coffee after noon. So sleep is number one. So I would give a lot up for sleep. That I would be, because I can't function without sleep. So you just go to bed early. So as opposed to, back in the day, things were live on TV. You had to, now I can watch Netflix, the show I want to watch it whenever. It's 6 o'clock. I don't need to wait till 10 p.m. when it comes on TV. So my kids are older. Of course, my daughter is 25. So obviously she's moved out. But even when it's just somehow. I mean, I don't envy parents with 2 or 3 kids who all do 3 different sports in 3 different states. Every weekend. That's tough. I coach people like that. That's tough. Yeah, there's people out there who have it a lot harder than me. I can just somehow fit it in. I just do. I've always been kind of organized. The good thing about being Swiss, you have to go to the army. It's mandatory. There's not many armies in the world where it's mandatory, unless you misbehave, and then it becomes mandatory, and they just chuck in the army. So South Africa is a little bit one of them countries. I don't know how it is now, but I got pulled into the South African army, but we moved away back to Switzerland, so I was quite lucky, so I was able to do the Swiss army. But it just gets you organized a little bit. And then having that Swiss thing, I mean, there's some good things about Switzerland. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but there's a few good things, and it is a very organized country. Too many rules, perhaps. There's a reason I live here. It's a bit freer, but it's good. Sets you up for life. Like you go through this apprenticeship, college period, army, and then you're setting up for life, for your work life. And you kind of... I still have my cupboard organized the way it was 35 years ago. I can get dressed in the dark. My wife wouldn't have a chance to get dressed in the dark. She wouldn't know where stuff is. I know exactly where everything is in the dark.
It's good. It's good learnings.
And then
definitely good learnings.
You don't have to worry. People always say, sometimes it gets misconstrued if you come across a bit lazy, because you don't have to do all these things. No, I want to be lazy. Lazy in the stuff that's not important. Knowing where my stuff is I can use my energy on other stuff.
Yeah, totally. I think it gets attributed to like Einstein, but it's like, if you can find me a smart man and a lazy man to do a job, give me the lazy man every time, because the lazy man will find the quickest and easiest way to do it.
Absolutely.
And I think of that a lot. I can criticise myself for being, again, what I think is lazy, but it's just a case of, I want to do the fucking fun stuff. I want to do the shit that I'm good at, or I want to do the stuff that's going to light me up. So why do I want to spend fucking 20 minutes looking through different drawers in that instance? No, I can relate to that a lot. And you mentioned that you will nap a lot, and I think that's something that I'm starting to battle with as I now work towards doing a first ultra. And I know that a lot of men actually do battle with this, like almost making that time for themselves. That'll be like, right, I'm going to go out the door and I'm going to go my run. How can I go my run when my kids are kicking off in the house, or my wife needs some help in the house, how can I then also come back and justify that I'm going to have a nap, or I'm going to... And also the other thing is eating, right? You've got to be eating all the fucking time if you're running to that level. Like, how do you, in your mind, do you kind of justify that, or how do you reconcile that with yourself?
So you have to be selfish. If you're not selfish, you're going to worry a lot. I've been lucky. My wife's kind of accepted that she can't change the way I'm going to go about it. She didn't meet me as a runner. Obviously, she met me as a big unhealthy boy, you know. And I might have been maybe a nicer guy there, probably, possibly. I don't think my wife would marry me now.
Really?
No, I don't think so, no. I don't think so. I wouldn't be... She wouldn't hate me, of course, but I don't think I would be her type.
Right.
And to be honest, and I don't know, she'll listen to this and she might disagree, but it's a lot of things have changed,
Right.
you know, since I met her, of course. But yeah, you do have to be selfish. I say that to my runners. You don't have to be a selfish asshole, but you have to be a little bit selfish.
There's a line, right?
Obviously, that situation where you're wanting to go out of the door, the kids are setting off, your wife's maybe not well. Yeah, that run might not need to be done then, right? Probably. I can't judge on that. But I think the whole general thing is of the training having to be done, that selfish part, we need to somehow fit it in. And it's this negotiation that goes on at home, you know. Do you know it's even worse when you have two parents who do the same?
When you're both working out?
Both do that.
Ah, yeah, right.
Both
does your wife
ultra
train,
run.
does
No,
she?
she hates running.
Right.
No, so I'm quite lucky. But I know people that both.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, in the morning, it's my turn.
Nice
In the
6 hour
afternoon.
run.
So there's that mutual understanding. But then there's also, hey, you've got 2 hours. Don't go 2:10.
Yeah.
You've got 2 hours on the plan. Don't get lost on the trail. So yeah, no, I think selfishness, not in a positive way, because it weighs it out. The selfishness gets outweighed by how good you are. You're a fitter, healthier dad.
100%,
You're a
100%.
role model. Kids will look up to you. You know, I had a podcast with my friend on the 1%ers podcast where we discussed the sports, kids sports. And I'm always I'm like, as parents, we don't need to be at every training session of our kids.
That's a good point.
The game is something different, right? But when I played football, I didn't need my parents there. I mean, when I grew up, we just went to training on our own and came back and had dinner and went to bed. I used to drop my daughter off. She liked basketball. Dropped her off and I said, I'm going to go for my run or I'm going to go and do some work. Is that okay? Yeah, no problem. But 10 minutes before it finished, I got there. So I saw her finish and she gave me the thumbs up. She had a good hour or 1.5 hours. She got her thing. She was able to be a little bit more independent, which made her proud. Look, I don't need Dad here, but he's still here when I need him. That's all we need.
I agree.
So I snuck in an hour's run and still got a 10K in or whatever it is and done. It's like everybody's happy. We got home. Negotiating. But look, I can only speak for myself. There's no...
But it's a good point, right? If you say, like, what version... This is something I had to battle with a lot in the early days as well, is what version of you is going to be a better role model, a better father, a better husband, a better person to be around, better for yourself, who's going to be around longer. Because I used to make that, and that would almost be an excuse for me, as you say, well, we've just had a wee girl. I'm not necessarily, I've not got the time. We can either find the time or you can model a lot of the wrong behaviours. I'm a fucking nightmare if I don't work out most days or I don't have some time to myself most days. And actually, I think it's worse if you're going to go and inflict that version of you on your family because you're not willing to step up in the morning or get up that bit earlier or make that what's the word I'm looking for? But that agreement with your daughter that, right, I'll be there at the start and the end, but maybe not be there for the full thing. Like you say, she probably doesn't want you there that full time either.
Exactly.
No, I love that as a response. Good. So you were doing it yourself, and you're now. What really impresses me about you, to be fair, Mario, is you've got this background in service engineering. You become a sales coach at one stage.
I am now, yeah.
You are, yeah. Leadership coach.
Yeah.
Ultra running coach, nutritionist as well.
You're endurance sports nutrition coach. Yeah. So I'm not a
Endurance
nutritionist. Yeah.
Endurance sports nutrition coach. Talk us through some of those. How's that going for you?
Good. Yeah. So obviously the running has been going on for a few years. Pretty established. People pretty much know what they get from me. It's a very personalized approach, human first. And to have that holistic view, you need to have a bit of a knowledge of everything. I've built a network of good people as well, where I can refer my runners to.
Right.
And I also do cyclists as well, so not just runners, so it's all about endurance.
Right.
So most people come to me now for the nutrition side, plus the plan, of course, they get a running plan. But it's like coaching. What I love about coaching, independent of what it is, coaching is giving people the tools to do it themselves. Whereas a mentor is similar, but if you go to, what do they call them now? Everybody's doing it. The people who are like in between. Bloody hell. Consultants, sorry. A consultant tells you exactly what to do and when. And I don't want to be a consultant. Nothing against consultants, but they have their thing. A coach gives you tools to do. I am also a wellness coach. Many people don't know that.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so, I got taught how to help people quit smoking.
All right.
Independent of my background,
Yeah.
and how to give people the tool. And that's when it clicked for me how important coaching is. It's not a matter of saying you need to stop tomorrow. It's giving you, you've got someone to answer to, which is always good. And someone's watching, someone's guiding me, but it's these building the tools, your toolbox, and because I can't be your alarm clock in the morning. I can't go and do your run, but I can give you the tools to get through every run and structure not your life, but your running or whatever it is. And the same goes for leadership coaching, sales coaching. So internally in my company, one of my many roles is a sales coach in my day job, but I've also since a few years started building my own program up, because I'm really passionate about coaching people, getting out of their little, it's like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly situation, and I want people to achieve the best of themselves. In sales, dealing with customers, hard conversations, and so on. So just over the last few years, I've been certified to do all these things. So yeah.
Brilliant. I love that. And there's loads of different industries, I guess, or hats to wear. What are some pieces of advice that are consistent across it all that you think people could take away from you?
I mean, we're always dealing with humans. That's point number one. That's very important. There's always systems in place, but I think leadership, coaching, mentoring, leading from the front, it's a matter of doing things that you believe in and getting people to come onto your ride. Richard Branson always puts it well. He says, I don't know what I'm going to do with you, Jonathan, but you need to be on my bus, right? And then once you're on the bus, it's like, and that for me is fascinating. Rather than looking at a perfect CV, and you think you've got a perfect CV and nobody looks at it. I mean, when I lost my job years ago, made redundant, I wrote probably 130, 150 resumes.
Right.
I got 3 interviews. 2 of them through word of mouth, so it had nothing to do with how good my LinkedIn picture looked. So it was all about someone knowing someone. And I got 1 interview to the last 2 stage through the normal process of recruiting.
Right.
How crazy is that? It's like, and I don't want the world to live like that. For me, it's all about this interaction, communication. We've lost communication. Communicating is key. Customer service. The Americans do it really well. I've just been dealing with a few companies over there. I wasn't happy with some of the products. They were brilliant. I mean, they write back in 5 minutes. I work for a company. I wouldn't want to be a customer sometimes. I mean, this is why communication is key. So I'm sorry it's a long answer, but it's like human first approach, having that customer, client, athlete first, holistic view. That would be tip number 2. Tip number 3, everybody has a story.
Everybody has a story.
Everybody has a story. Don't judge, ever.
Something else you've touched on a bit when we're kind of moving back onto the running and performance side of things, or cycling or ultra. But one thing you touched on was recovery. Now, recovery is something that I think a lot of people struggle with. Ambitious people seem to be shit at recovery. We see it as lazy, we see it as missing a chance to get ahead. What would your messages be, or what would you tell an athlete around about recovery?
If I look at the Olympics, and this is a great question, by the way, Jonathan, thanks. I think if you look at the Olympics, I think the guy who's at the top and the guy comes second or third, or the woman, whatever, they're all equally trained, tough, whatever, all the accolades, tick the box. The guy who can recover the quickest and go again in training, he's the winner. So recovery is not the lazy period, like many people say, like you say. Recovery is the period where, boom, we charge so we can go again. And if we don't stop to recharge, has anybody ever driven past a petrol station and got petrol by driving past? No?
That's a good analogy.
The same as with the electric cars now. He will not charge, some hybrids do, but an electric vehicle needs to be plugged in. We need to be plugged in at night.
And wind down.
So for all these people who believe in electric cars and hybrid cars and normal cars, doesn't matter what you look at, they actually come to a physical halt. The engine has to be switched off, and then we charge.
Love it. You've coached runners from beginners, maybe taking on first 5 and 10Ks, all the way to podium finishes. Sorry, I keep saying runners, but of course cyclists as well, which you've brought into that. But for you, what separates people from those who transform their life, such as yourself, such as Jason, to those who continue to live out the same mistakes and the same lives on repeat?
Yeah, if you're not coachable, you can have the best coach in your life. It's not going to work. You can have the best program for your professional life at work. You can have the best plan for your endurance endeavors, your best nutrition plan. You can have light and easy at home every day. If you still go out to McDonald's, that light and easy will do nothing, right? It's like the other big mistake many people make, they already go to the 1%ers rather than doing the first 99%, right? That's why I have a podcast called The 1%ers.
What does that mean then, Mario, if you've got the 1%?
So if we have a magic pill, right, that helps us with a little bit of oxygen moved through the body to our muscles and so on, that only works if we're already doing the training, if we've already got a strong heart, a good heart, cardiovascular system, and so on. Eating one salad a week is not going to outweigh, all the bad things we do. So this is the same goes for training. It's like many people say, "Oh, where's the magic workout?" There is no magic workout. The magic is in the word consistency. Many people hate the word, but it's just what it is: consistency every single day. You appear. I also coach juniors, one-on-one mostly. I don't have a running. I am a coach at a running club, but we don't have that many juniors. But one-on-one, and there, it's again, if they come and they want to have fun, they will have a lot of fun. It's just being that coachable. If you're coachable, magic will happen. Sorry. Of course.
How do you become coachable?
I mean, if you want to do stuff, and you have someone who's going to, and you strongly believe someone is there to help you achieve that, then you're coachable. If you trust someone wholeheartedly to help you get to your goals, that's when you become coachable. Doesn't mean you can't question what's going on. You should. I love questions. And the good thing is, for all those people out there who want to get a coach, it doesn't matter what kind of a coach it is, sports or work, ask them, why am I doing this? Because we are not in the army, or we're not at school anymore, where they don't have to tell you why they're doing this. I mean, in the army, why am I running up and down the hill? They have to waste time because it's not midnight yet, and you don't have to go to bed yet, right? And why do I have to, undo my gun 400 times? Wouldn't 300 times be enough? Because I understood it after 10 times. Yes, but some of you guys are stupid. That's the answers you get, right? But in real life, coming out of that war zone, I think it's just a matter of having people that, if you feel you've got the right person in your network that's going to help you reach your goals and you put your full trust in them, doesn't mean you can't question. If a coach can't answer your question, why you're doing that workout or why you're doing this training at work, the coach doesn't understand it. Question your coach. I love good questions. If someone says, Mario, why am I doing this workout? I'm saying, yeah, because, or Mario, why do I need to learn how to ask questions when I'm at a customer? Yeah, because we need to understand his business. If we don't understand the business of the customer, how can we find a solution? It's called value-based solution selling. So if I don't know what you need, how am I going to give you anything? And the running plan as well, that's not 80% of what I do. That's 20 to 25% of what I do. So if Jonathan wants to become a better runner, I need to understand Jonathan. The program is the easy bit. That's just numbers on a piece of paper. But for me to understand those numbers on that piece of paper or Excel file or whatever it is through an app, the magic happens there. And it's like that story. There was an engine not working in the 1940s, and there was one engineer in the world who knew how to fix this thing. He goes around, taps on the thing and says, here, you need to drill a hole. And then they fixed it. And he charged them like $10,000. And they said, oh, why is it so expensive? He says, the tapping is $1. $9,999 is knowing where to tap, right? To know that end, things like that. So this is kind of the same situation with building a program for someone,
And that's what you call human first performance.
Always.
Love it.
Athlete is in the center, or the salesperson or the customer or whoever I'm working for at this moment. I'm just there. I would say a leader is a servant, and a coach is a servant of whoever. It's not even got anything to do who pays who. It's a matter of someone's asking me for help, so I serve them myself and do the best I can to help these people achieve their goals, whatever they want to do.
Brilliant. I love that. And just a few that we're finishing up on that we do with most guests. So there will be people listening to this who feel stuck, who think maybe an opportunity's passed them by. They're either too young and they don't know where to start, too old and they think it's maybe passed them by, somewhere in the middle of that and in some bad habits like you and I have been. What is one piece of advice you would give to them to get started?
The best time to start is now. You can't start yesterday, that's gone. And the reason you're here and you think you're too old is because you've done a lot of, I'll start tomorrow.
Like
There's no perfect day for anything in this world, ever. That's just my experience. There's no, I'll start next Monday. Why does everybody go to the gym in January? Because they've had a week of indulgence. Sort that 1 week. Yeah. I'm worried about the other 51. Yeah. If you can get the 51 right, go hell for leather through Christmas. Eat 4 desserts and 15 whatever. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Because you're doing 51. That's where the strength is. This, I'll start tomorrow. I can't. I struggle with that.
So get started today. What should they get started with?
Not even today. No.
What should they get started with? What can they do to begin this?
Do little things that I taught my daughter and other people, simple things. And there's even a Navy SEAL who talks about this famous YouTube clip that people can look. The first thing you do when you wake up is make your bed, even in a hotel.
This clip. I love
right?
this clip.
You know this? It's like one thing ticked, right? Then have a glass of water. That's 2 things ticked. And if you do exercise, do that or go for a 10-minute walk with no phone on you, nothing. That's 3 things ticked. You go to work, you've already done 3 things. People come to work like this, they've not even done anything yet. You know, they've just jumped out of bed and run to work. Tick boxes. Doesn't matter what it is. Your own boxes. Make it your own path, your own journey. It's your journey, no one else's journey. You cannot live someone else's life. Do the little things every single day. What do we do when we get in the car? The first thing that we have to do, because it'll beep otherwise.
Seatbelt on.
Correct. Make your bed, glass of water, and if you need to go to the toilet, go to the toilet, and then go for a walk. Done. Or Tai Chi, anything. Get fresh, sunlight, whatever. It works for Asian cultures, many other cultures. Why wouldn't it work for us?
I love it, and it's simple as well, right? Like, you know, why am I not feeling great? Well, maybe you slept in, you picked your phone up before you thought about yourself. You know, you were running late for work, you cut everything to the last minute. I love it.
How stressed are we if we run late for work?
It's amazing the stress that can put
and
on.
And then that day is 8 hours
whole
of hell.
Done.
Because you're just playing catch up.
Yeah, the whole day's done.
But if you go there with a full battery, bring it. Come on, boss. Is that all you've got? It's like, right? Yeah.
Well, we always finish on this, and it's for me, there's a lot of conflicting information out there. I would not like to be a young guy right now and to see what's portrayed in the news as masculinity. What does being a good man mean to you, Mario?
I don't think I've ever been asked that in my life. Am I the right guy to answer that?
Do you think you're a good man?
Look, I have ethics. That's one thing. I'm a very ethical guy. I know right from wrong. My parents definitely brought me up that way, right? Nothing to do with strict or not strict. I know right from wrong. What's right, what's wrong. I've been to so many countries in my life. I've worked in so many countries. So when you work somewhere, you actually work with the real people, you know. I think a good man is just someone who's inclusive, who accepts everybody how they are. I think 99% of humanity are okay. There's just a small 1%. Unfortunately, they rise to the top at the moment by the looks of it.
It sells, doesn't it?
But these 99% of good people let that happen. So maybe, you know, in history, changes are made by the crowd, not by one single person. You know, we come from countries where history is huge, you know, Switzerland, Scotland. You've got so much history there. And only the masses have ever changed something, right? The Vikings were the same. Everywhere, the masses change things. One person cannot change everything. But coming back to your question, a good man is just, I think being respectful, being human, and understanding that everybody has a story. Everybody, if someone shouts at you through the car window, yes, they shouldn't. But it's a matter of how am I taking that on board. It's my responsibility. That person might be angry, they're running late for work. Who knows? Someone might have passed away last night. And his boss has just called him, no, you're not getting the day off tomorrow. You have to come to work. Who are we to judge that person in the car shouting at me? I'm just the next person in line that gets shouted at. Fine. So I don't know if it's a good answer. I've never thought about what's a good man. I mean, talking about men, I do think we focus too little on women, I think. Also women in sports and stuff. Which I'm really focused on at the moment with the program I'm running through the running project that I do. But we also need to start thinking about young men. You just said we wouldn't want to be a 20, 22-year-old man. They're struggling.
100% now. 100% now.
When I grew up, I didn't need to look good or be strong or have biceps and a six-pack.
But when you grew up as well, there was only a select few role models, and they were those who had to achieve greatness to rise to the top and become known. people can become a world famous role model right now because they know how to work algorithms, or they know how to piss the right people off, or they know how to switch, and it's quite dangerous. But I think one of the things I wanted to do with the podcast is just put people who are doing something different, who are like you say, the masses, the people that are living that life in that middle. They're not in any of the extremes, but they're just getting up every day. They're working hard for themselves. They're working hard for them families, and they're making a difference in their own lives and that of others. Even if just by being a role model, by being a good role model, or by showing a different path, which is the two areas I want to go down. So I think it's a good answer. It's your answer. But I mean, more importantly, I think you've shown a really good way. You know, I've listened to you a lot over the last few weeks, and it's been great. You've got an amazing energy, but I'm very inspired by what you do. So it's been a pleasure to have you on, Mario.
Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Thank you, sir.
Very much. Yeah, and keep that podcast going.
Thank you, sir. I will do. And you. We'll point guests in the direction of it.
Thanks so much.
Just to finish up on, Mario, where can people check you out and where can they reach you?
So obviously Healthetica Coaching.
Healthetica Coaching.
My baby. That's my running. And then my next venture is called Forward Motion Leadership.
Okay.
Which is my leadership program. And yeah, they'll both have a website. So Healthetica Coaching has already got a website. People can check me out, what I've done. There's probably too many pictures of myself on there, but you need to kind of be walking the talking. I like that. So there's me finishing some races and struggling in a few others and stuff, but it's all about this community feel that I wanted to make. And then Forward Motion Leadership will exactly be the same. It'll be a bespoke program to individuals, leaders, groups. It can be a cafe where they say, look, I want my team to work a bit better with one another. And I'm not going to go into a company saying, oh, you've got too many people here, too much staff. That's not my job. My job is to make sure they all work to their strengths. I'm a big believer on using people's strengths rather than pointing out weaknesses. Yes, if you're an accountant and you don't like numbers, probably not a good, but that's not my choice to make when I go in, right? But if someone's an accountant, they love numbers, but maybe they're not so good at something else, then maybe someone else can do that, and they can and these are the things, and getting people to understand that the customer comes first and so on. So that's definitely the project I'm most passionate about. We've got something else it's called Healthetica Rising, where we look after 17 to 25-year-old young runners who want to go into ultra running, and we've built a program, an 6-week educational program, together with my other coach, Sophie Garrity, where we want to work with running clubs. So we don't want to go in as coaches that they've already coached, but it's a matter of building that pathway to do this stuff safely. Because we can't stop them running backyard ultras and stuff. We're not going to stop them, but kind of have it safely. Talk about recovery, rest, nutrition, all these things. So, yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, well, we'll link that in the comments as well, Mike.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
No, thank you, sir. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers.
The Gentrified Stoic Podcast.